TitleMatchNetwork.com.
It's true. What do you remember about the plane crash in 1975?
Jesus, everything, I guess.
What were you thinking as the plane was going down?
I didn't have time to think. I was listening to my Walkman. I was sitting in the back next to Bobby, and we're coming out of Miami, and we called for approach to come into Peter O'Night, and they say, well, the weather's moving across the bay. Maybe, should land in Sarasota. So we set our course to land in Sarasota, and as we were getting ready to go into Sarasota, a guy from Peter O'Night called, the control guy, and said, we can get you in before the storm if you want to come into Peter O'Night. So, we got maybe 5 miles, 6 miles on our approach, and we got socked in. I mean, we flew into a storm cloud, and we couldn't get out of it. We would go up and we'd go down, but we couldn't break through. And Buddy wasn't instrument rated. He was on a visual flight plan, and they were giving us different vectors. And we finally broke through the clouds, maybe at 700-800 feet, and we were high and to the right. So we had to circle back out over the bay to make another approach to land. And as we started our circle, we flew right into the ocean. A moment before we hit, Austin Idol said, pull up, we're going to hit the water. So I reached down, popped my belt, and luckily, as the plane hit wingtip over wingtip, it drew me clear from the plane.
Wow.
And there I was in Tampa Bay at 2 o'clock in the morning, popped to the top of the water, realized I had survived. Didn't see Buddy, didn't see Austin Idol, didn't see Buddy Colt or Bobby Shane.
Wow.
All I could see was a light way off into the distance, so I started swimming towards the light. Once I got closer, I came across Austin Idol, and Austin was panicking pretty bad. Couldn't make it in. So I told him just relax, lay back, and I brought him to the seawall. And then Buddy Colt, I heard him hollering, is anyone there, is anyone there? So I went back out and I got Buddy Colt.
Right.
Brought Buddy Colt into the seawall. He was pretty messed up himself. And then I went back out to try to find Bobby. Couldn't find Bobby. Looked for a while, I don't know how long. But I was getting weak by then. My head was open up 180 stitches, cut off my nose, lost my right eye, fractured my sternum, fractured clavicle, broken wrist, broken arm, broken leg, vertebrae in the back. And I was beginning to get weak, and so I thought, well, it's best, try to get out of this place we're at. It was low tide. The seawall was about 20 feet high.
Right.
But 5-6 feet above where I could reach was a ladder. And I had Buddy and Bob and Dennis to get down on their hands and knees. I crawled up on their back, crawled up the ladder, went to a house, kicked the door in, told them, we have horrible problems here. So they called the police, thank God. I went back down to the dock and dropped the boat over. There was a big boat hanging on. I hit the button and one end fell down for Buddy and Austin to get in. And then I went and sat under a tree and waited for the ambulance to come.
That's a crazy story.
Yeah, it was a trip.
My very first question for you would be how you broke into the wrestling business, and were you a fan growing up?
I first became interested in wrestling when I was a kid. I used to go visit my uncle in Southern Illinois, and we would watch matches from the Kill on it. Not the Kill, but the guys that wrestled at the Kill. It was at, what was the name of that building? The Chase.
Right.
It was an early morning show. And first wrestler I really saw that I really liked was Rip Hawk. Oddly enough, I ended up managing him about 15 years later.
Huh. Wow. So, did you know you wanted to get into the wrestling business when you were younger?
Well, I sort of got in by accident. I was a competitive swimmer, and I was at a swim meet in Fox Lake, Illinois, where Billy Gales, who was one of the big names in Chicago at the time, he was also a matchmaker for Fred Kohler, and I got got to know him, and as time went by, he trained me and broke me in 1960.
What was the training like?
Very difficult, very difficult. Probably more so hard on the guys of my generation, because there were a lot of guys, in their late 40s, early 50s that were finishing up their career, and they like to come into the training class and stretch us pretty good. And so I paid my dues.
All right. Did you find taking bumps a harder aspect to learn as far as picking up the business, or the psychology?
Well, psychology. Anyone can fall down. But learning how to pace yourself to have a beginning, a middle, and an end, I think, is the most important thing. And having good opponents. And I was fortunate that I had Billy Gills, Johnny Case, Johnny Gilbert, Bad Boy Joe, Bobby Manicoff, quite a few old-timers that weren't as disgruntled that their career was over and would actually go out and try to have a match with you and teach you how to have a match.
All right. What are some of your early memories of your first matches?
To be honest with you, it was so long ago.
Right.
It was over 47 years ago. I remember the match that I remember. I don't remember my first match, but my second match I remember because it was the Marigold Arena. That match I remember. I wrestled a guy by the name of Tiger Malloy.
Right.
And I remember I went 15 minutes through.
Huh.
That was my memory. But like you say, 47 years ago, it's pretty hard to remember.
Right. What were some of the early territories that you worked as a wrestler?
My first two that I actually wrestled in was Chicago, which consisted of Wisconsin, Ohio, and parts of Indiana. And then once I left Chicago, I went on to Detroit, where I wrestled for a gentleman by the name of Bert Ruby, and we wrestled in the Michigan area. Those were the first two territories that I wrestled in. And that's where I met George the Animal Steele. At the time, he was wrestling under a mask by the name of the Student. I was his manager, and I helped break him in.
Right.
Was the first guy that I really helped bring to national prominence. Guys before I had Angelo Poffo and Johnny Case, but they were well established. George was probably my first project, someone that I really tried to help to understand wrestling. I had been in 3 years at that time. He was just starting, so he was my first project. He was my guinea pig. I did a hell of a job on him, I believe.
Now, as far as wrestling and managing, what made you switch from manager?
I really wasn't that great. I was a ham and egger. I could have competed and made a living, but I realized early on that I had a good eye for talent. I could see a guy and learn and know how to develop a guy. I don't know where I learned that. It just was something that I had. And I learned pretty quickly that my big success would be finding other people and packaging them in the right way and give them a little direction and take care of the office business. I was always very good at that. So I pretty early on, I decided that I would be a much better manager. I did leave Detroit and I went to Amarillo and I wrestled there for about 6 or 8 months. I really didn't care for Amarillo. I came from Chicago and Detroit. Amarillo was a culture shock to me.
Right.
I mean, where I grew up, you could eat 24 hours a day. Movie houses open 24 hours a day. Pool halls open 24 hours a day. Cities that never sleep. And I went to Amarillo, Texas. And it was culture shock. I hated it out there. I couldn't stand it. I wrestled for the Funks. For about 6 months, I decided this isn't for me. I had to get out of there. And I went to Dallas and with Carl Von Bronner and Al Costello. And I started managing full time after that. That was my mainstay, was those two guys.
Do you think your experience as a wrestler helped you become a great manager?
No, I don't. I just think it was an innate ability I had. Like I said, I had a good eye for talent. I dealt well with others, especially promoters. The power structure never affected me. I was never afraid to get fired. I was never afraid for someone to say no to me. So I think, I was a natural born manager. I think anyone can learn to be a wrestler, can't learn to be a great wrestler, can't learn how to draw money, but a good manager, you're born with those abilities and abilities that you pick up on the street. I was a street kid. from Halsted Street in Chicago. So I came from the inner city. So I know how to deal with people. And I believe that probably as a manager, I knew that I could see other guys, how to position them.
Right.
And I just picked it up and went on with it.
Who gave you the name Playboy?
Myself.
Okay.
When I started, I was Hurricane Hart. Billy Gels gave me that name. And as soon as I left Chicago, as you know, Playboy Enterprises comes from Chicago.
Right.
And I liked the name. So when I went to Burt Ruby in Detroit, I changed my name to Playboy Gary Hart.
Watch thousands of exclusive shoot interviews right now on TitleMatchNetwork.com.